Okay, sup witches, Celeste of the Silver Cord here with your full moon in February on the 9th, 2020. This is the ritual that we're going to be doing with our cord. If you're interested in purchasing one of the kits, I'll put the link below. And if you'd like to follow along with us, I'll also put the link below for our Facebook group, the Coven, the Silver Cord, where you can ask more questions and follow along and see the pictures of our altars and our rituals that we do there. Alright, so this full moon is going to be at 20 degrees of Leo. And this is bringing a lot of creative, self-expressive energy that's going to be playing in. And with that, we also have the moon in a trine with Mars and Uranus. Mars in 25 degrees of Sagittarius, which is the number 7, which is the scholar. So that is all about using your knowledge and hunting for knowledge is going to be a big theme this month. Also going along with that is the Uranus at 3 degrees of Taurus, which 3 is the creator. So this is setting solid foundations with it being in Taurus in creating. So this is seeking mystical knowledge in order to build creative foundations for yourself. This is bringing an inspired adaptation to your routines and incorporating others and love and tolerance of incorporating others into how you're creating these new routines. The moon will also be in a square with Venus at 1 degrees of Aries, which is the pioneer number. It's going to be at 20, the sun squared with the sun, also at 20 degrees of Aquarius, which is also bringing psychic abilities to that enlightened energy of Aquarius there. And the north node is the final corner of that square, and that is at 6 degrees of Cancer, which is bringing out the hidden artist. So this is all about ambition and enthusiasm coupled with enlightenment and focus. Sorry, I'm reading my notes here. I have terrible chicken scratch. So ambition and enthusiasm coupled with enlightenment and focus, also with the inspired adaptations of your routines, incorporating others' love and tolerance. So this is a lot of time to really create a lot of new changes for yourself. And with that, I have chosen the moon rune for this month, which is etched onto the bottle here. Maybe if I put it in the light, you can see. Etched onto the bottle heel, which is all about bringing in long-term changes and transitions. What long-term changes you have been trying to make in your life. With all those signs coming out of Capricorn, it was a lot of highlights on areas in our lives where we hold ourselves back. Be it addictions, be it just unhealthy routines, eating habits, whatever it is, whatever you use to procrastinate. Do you binge watch TV so much that you watch 10 episodes and you don't get anything done that day? Whatever it is that you've been using as an excuse to procrastinate on what you need to do. Now this full moon is also the snow moon. And the snow moon is all about the silence when there's snow on the ground. The snow is... it's so quiet when it snows. It's one of my favorite things about it. You can stand out in the snow. All the animals are hibernating and they're all hiding in their little burrows and all the bugs are gone. Everything's so quiet out there. And it is in the silence where you can hear spirit. That is where you can find the most guidance. So this is about in the silence is where you hear spirit. Now with Imbolc coming up, Imbolc is all about those first plants that bloom out through the snow. You'll see a lot of pictures that represent Imbolc, and it'll be tulips bursting out from snow-covered ground. So that's the main focus of this month's spell. It's about focusing on those long-term changes and how you have adapted your routines and how you have incorporated others and your ambition and enthusiasm to keep researching these areas and keep moving forward in that. That will be the visualization you'll be going with this, is incorporating all these things to this new vision of your higher self. Now, this month, instead of choosing a color candle, I have created these ones. And now to create your own tea light candles especially are so easy. All you have to do is, I use cast iron, but not everybody has that. You can use like a frying pan, and you put the candles in there, and then you put water in there. I use moon water, but you can use any water, and you let it come to a low to medium heat, and you just bring it up to the wax melts, and then you can start adding things to your candle. Now, what I've added to these tea lights during a little ritual that I did in my kitchen with my cast iron stuff, if anybody knows me, I have an altar in almost every room in my house. So yes, I do have a kitchen witch altar too. I added mica, and that is for reflection and problem solving, and I've added eucalyptus leaves and oil for healing and spiritual growth. And also on the bottom you'll see I added 3 drops of green for more healing. So a lot of the changes that we make is to bring ourselves healing, whether healing in spirituality or healing physically. One of the main reasons I got into or re-got into doing moon rituals all the time was to get out of pain, because I have herniated discs in my neck and in my back. So I did this to get out of, I started this journey initially to get out of pain, and I have gained a lot of spiritual growth just from doing new moon and full moon and dedicating myself 2 nights a month to myself. So we had the mica for reflection and the eucalyptus candle here. And for the herbs and powders that I use this month, I have chosen eggshell powder, which is easy enough to make. You save your eggshells. I suggest putting them in the oven on a real low heat for about 30 minutes to really dry them out, and then they will powder up really nicely in your mortar with the pestle. And eggshell powder is protection for yourself. And it's also about breaking through, because destruction for the egg is birth of a chicken or birth of whatever's in the egg. In order to be born, they had to break themselves out of the egg. So this is about breaking out of your old shell to be reborn anew. And I also added to this yerba mate. It's an herb, YERBAMATE, yerba mate, and this brings focus and clarity and love. And this is about self-love, loving yourself, loving your past self. Love them anyway, even though they didn't know what you know now, and loving the fact that you came through that past self in order to be reborn in your new self. I've chosen the stone for this month. I'm going with Snowflake Obsidian, and this is about dissolving those emotional blocks, those places where you do not like yourself for things that you have done or positions you have put yourself in or things you have tolerated that you now see you should never have tolerated. This is all about breaking through and dissolving those emotional blocks so that you can come into truly loving yourself again. For the powder, for the incense, for air, I have chosen dragon's blood. I know I use it a lot, but it is really one of my favorites. I think every witch should have this as a basic in your kits or in your cabinets or wherever you keep your stuff. And dragon blood really adds more power to your spells' intentions and more power to the manifestations, and it does come with love and healing. And it comes from love and healing from the masculine side, because this is the moon rune, full moon, in bulk. It is a lot of goddess energy going on, a lot of that divine feminine energy. So the dragon's blood is going to add some balance of balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Okay, so I've already lit my charcoal here. You let it get that nice gray ring around it. And go ahead and start spicing it up in here with some of the dragon's blood on there. Can always add more. Alright, so take your jar. Now, if you don't buy a jar from me, you don't have to. You can take any jar. You can write on it with, it doesn't matter. You can write on it with a marker. You can draw your moon rune on it. You can use nail polish. You can use glitter glue. Go crazy with it. I always say that when I explain these kits and when I explain these full moon spells, I try to go as basic as possible, because it really is, when you create a sacred space, should be sacred to you. So it does not matter about perfection. It does not matter about having everything exactly where it needs to be. It is about creating a space that you are proud of, incorporating things you love. So we're going to be adding moon water to our bottle. If you don't know how to make moon water, you just pick a vessel, preferably glass, and you put it outside under the full moons. If you are pressed for time by the time you see this, you can create moon water on the 8th. The full moon is technically considered full from the day before to the day after, and that is also your casting space for full moon rituals. You can do, I usually do a self ritual on the night before the actual totality. I do the group ritual on the night of the totality, and then I do a closing grounding ritual the night after. So I use all 3 nights of the full moon when I do my castings. All right. So here we go. So you want to consecrate your stones, and it will be the same thing. You will pass it through the smoke. Let's burn it a little quick. Pass it through the smoke. You pass it through fire. I have a candle back here. Smoke, air, fire, water. Drop it in the water. For our earth, we'll add the eggshells and the verba root to the water. Now here's the trick. When I send these out, they have a metal circle on them. You'll want to gently pull them out of the metal circle and then very gently place them into your jar, and they will float. And then you can light your candle. Now, I didn't consecrate this candle in this ritual because I have already consecrated them when I created them. I added eucalyptus oil to the candle and eucalyptus herbs in the candle. And so I've already consecrated it with oil and herbs and everything else while I was creating them. So if you're just using a tea light that doesn't have anything on it, you'll want to consecrate it with a little bit of oil. If you don't have eucalyptus oil, you can always use extra virgin olive oil, mineral oil. I'd say vegetable oil even works. It's corn. It brings abundance. Whatever oil you've got, you'll consecrate it with a little bit of oil, the smoke, the herbs, and then place it onto the top of your jar here. Now, while you sit with this jar, you will think about all the things that you have broken free from. And you can envision them falling away, like chipping off the pieces of the egg as you're bursting forward. And that will be what you'll be focusing on, is visualizing yourself being reborn from this egg of your past self into this new version of you. Now for the water, when you are done doing your visualizations with your candles, which your candle will eventually burn down to the point where the water itself will put it out, and then you can cap it, put it outside during the full moon on the 9th, and I would leave it out there through the 10th. What you can do with your water after that is you can use it to, as I suggested in the new moon video, where you can do a ritual where you're planting seeds, where you take seeds and you pass them through earth, air, fire, water, plant them into a bowl of soil, water them with your moon water. Now, if you've done that already with the new moon, or if you plan on doing that with in bulk, you can go ahead and use this water to also water those seeds. The eggshell powder will be amazing for them. If you haven't done that one, or you would like to do something different, I suggest getting an avocado seed. And you do that where you take the toothpicks and you'll sit it in the water, so where the bottom of the seed is in the water and the top is out. And then you can meditate with this one, with your avocado, and visualize yourself breaking free of your old self. And while you're doing these visualizations, after a couple days to a couple of weeks, you will see that avocado seed will split open and you'll see the roots shoot out the bottom, and then the stalks start to grow. And I always say it is very important to ground, because that is how seeds grow. They grow root first, and then they reach up to the cosmos. Seeing what else I can add on to this. This is a wonderful ritual with the avocado seed that you can also do for in bulk too. It's all about rebirth after the winter, and this is all about the snow moon and making these transitions and breaking free of our old selves. I know January was really rough for energy-wise for people. Not so much that things actually happen, but a lot of us have felt like we have just been waiting, like it's been stagnant, like we've been waiting for something to finally start moving forward. And now with this full moon is when things will start to move forward. And now in February, right after in bulk, we are going to hit the shadow phase of a Mercury retrograde. And that will be highlighting all the areas in communication and communicating why things hold you back and why you want to change. And that will be the regular flow. Everybody knows Mercury comes with a lot of communication, transportation, getting things rolling, seems stagnant. So as you're bursting through, just remember it takes a lot of energy to break through these self-barriers. And don't ever doubt yourself, and don't ever discredit yourself for struggling to do these things. It is not easy to be reborn. It's not easy to be born. That's the whole premise of using the eggshells in this ritual. All right. Yeah, that's about all I had to add into this month's full moon ritual. If you like this, please like, share, subscribe, spank the bell to get more notifications. I will try to do some tarot readings for all the signs in February. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to them. I will be having surgery on my hand here soon, so I'm not sure when that's going to happen. So depending on how those are rolling, that might be my Mercury retrograde for me, is not being able to shuffle cards for a couple of weeks. Everybody's going to have to face something. There's no getting away from the trials of life. But with these rituals, what I hope for myself and what I hope to help to do for others is help us face these challenges just a little bit more gracefully, and giving others a little bit more grace while they are dealing with their struggles. All right, witches, blessed be.